Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Welcome to NFL Nexus. I'm your host, and today we are tearing into a story that is actively altering the landscape of the National Football League. Before we pull back the curtain on this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button on this explainer, and comment down below with what you think. And look, if you truly want to support the deep dive content we do here, consider becoming a channel member today. All right, let's get into it. We are diving straight into the suffocating, intense scrutiny surrounding the 2026 Dallas Cowboys as they face a literal ticking clock on their championship window. Just look at the title on your screen right now, Inside the Pressure Cooker. The tension in Dallas isn't just a fun off-season storyline anymore. It is a daily, inescapable reality. Every single pass thrown in a quiet minicamp, every front office whisper in the war room, every missed opportunity in the free agency cycle, it all feels infinitely heavier than it ever has before. We are looking at a franchise fundamentally trapped. They are caught somewhere between the ghosts of their own glorious history and a terrifyingly uncertain future. The walls are closing in, and you can feel it in the air. And this quote right here from Alec on 105.3 The Fan, it perfectly captures the absolute raw frustration echoing through the streets of Dallas. The critics aren't just whispering anymore. They are screaming. They're screaming that the Dallas front office is actively wasting the absolute prime of their highest-paid quarterback. I want you to read those words again. Focus on the end of the sentence, before that time runs out. It's a chilling reminder of the cold, ruthless economics of professional football. When a front office writes that massive check, when you make the organizational decision to lock in your franchise quarterback and absorb that monumental salary cap hit, the expectations immediately shift. You are no longer just trying to contend. It becomes championship or bust. There is absolutely no middle ground. And right now, the absolute silence from the Dallas front office regarding aggressive, needle-moving roster building, well, it's completely deafening to a fan base that measures success strictly in Lombardi trophies. 11. That's right. Dak Prescott is entering his 11th NFL season. And this single number brilliantly and tragically illustrates how rapidly the window to secure a Super Bowl ring with him is narrowing. Think about what 11 years actually means in the National Football League. 11 years of brutal Sunday battles. 11 years of taking catastrophic hits in the pocket from 300-pound defensive linemen. 11 years of carrying the immense, crushing weight of that legendary star on his helmet. In this league, a decade isn't just a long time, it is a lifetime. The athletic prime of a quarterback isn't a permanent state of being. It is a fleeting, fragile window that closes just a little bit more with every single snap of the football. Every single season that ends without confetti falling from the rafters is a season permanently lost to history. The sand in the hourglass, represented by that number 11, is almost completely gone. The urgency has literally never been higher. Let's quickly glance at our agenda for this explainer. We're going to cover Dak's narrowing window, then move into cautious versus aggressive team strategies, look at some Madden-worthy individual seasons, and finally, break down a looming, catastrophic Week 6 threat. Section 1. Dak's narrowing window. The scrutiny is officially on. Let's start by unpacking the immense pressure currently weighing on Prescott and the entire franchise after missing the playoffs for 2 straight seasons. 2 consecutive years of sitting on the couch in January while other teams fight for the championship. For a franchise valued in the billions, missing the postseason isn't just a disappointment. Inside that building, it is viewed as an abject failure. The spotlight in Dallas doesn't just illuminate things, it burns. Look at this table. The Cowboys currently rank as the 4th most scrutinized team in the entire league heading into 2026. Look at the company they keep on this list. The Buffalo Bills at number 1 are absolutely desperate, fighting to push past years of agonizing playoff heartbreak. The Los Angeles Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs at 2 and 3, they are operating under the permanent, heavy microscope of modern championship expectations. They've tasted the ultimate victory, and anything less is a failure. And then there's Dallas, sitting right there at number 4. Being 4th on this list means every single microscopic roster move, every late-round draft pick, every single throw in a Tuesday minicamp is dissected on national television. When you are the 4th most scrutinized team on the planet, you do not get the benefit of the doubt, ever. Yet, despite this overwhelming team anxiety, despite the structural scrutiny, Dak is still performing squarely in his athletic prime. Just look at these bulleted numbers from his 2025 campaign. 4,552 passing yards, 30 passing touchdowns against just 10 interceptions, a 67.3% completion rate, resulting in a 99.5 passer rating. Listen to me, these are not the statistics of a quarterback in decline. These are elite, top-tier, franchise-carrying numbers. To throw for over 4,500 yards in today's NFL, where defensive coordinators are heavily relying on complex two-high safety shells specifically designed to eliminate the deep passing game, requires tremendous processing speed and pinpoint accuracy. Throwing 30 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions shows an incredible, masterful command of the offensive scheme and elite decision-making under literal fire. Dak is holding up his end of the bargain. He is delivering high-level quarterback play in the single most high-pressure environment in professional sports, which honestly makes the front office's failure to capitalize on his prime all the more maddening for this organization. Section 2. Cautious versus aggressive strategies. The front office dilemma. So if Dak is performing at such a high level, the critical burning question is this. Why is there so much panic regarding the front office? Why are the analysts, the former players, and the fans losing their minds? It all comes down to a fundamental clash in team-building philosophy. You have to compare the Cowboys' cautious, evaluate from within strategy to what is happening out west with the Los Angeles Rams. As this text comparison shows, the Rams just sent absolute shockwaves through the entire league. They completely sacrificed their future draft capital and their salary cap flexibility to aggressively trade for superstar edge rusher Myles Garrett. This is the crucial point of contrast. Les Snead and the Rams are screaming to the world, we want to win today. By adding an apex predator like Garrett, they instantly change the geometry of the football field. Opposing offenses have to completely alter their blocking schemes to account for him, which frees up the rest of the defensive line. The Rams are taking massive, calculated, terrifying risks to win a championship right now. Meanwhile, look at the left side of the screen. You see the Dallas approach. They are famously, stubbornly reluctant to pay up for veteran edge rushers. They want to draft, they want to meticulously evaluate, they want to be incredibly careful with their salary cap space. But here is the harsh reality of the NFL. Careful doesn't win Super Bowls when your franchise quarterback's clock is ticking down to zero. The semantic debate is over. The fans don't want spreadsheets anymore. They want a front office that makes the ruthless, aggressive, all-in moves required to capture a ring. Section 3. Madden-worthy seasons, no covers. Individual brilliance versus team glory. This conservative front office approach is absolutely maddening because historically, Dallas is a factory for incredible individual talent, but that talent simply doesn't translate to ultimate hardware. When Chicago's Caleb Williams was just announced as the cover athlete for Madden 27, it triggered a massive, painful realization in Dallas. This franchise builds absolute superstars. They build players who dominate the cultural conversation, who sell the most jerseys, who take over social media, yet they continually fall just short of the ultimate crowning achievements, whether that's a Lombardi trophy or even something as culturally significant as a Madden cover. Let's look at this timeline. These are legendary Cowboy seasons that surprisingly never got the nod. 2014, Dez Bryant dominating the league physically, tearing defensive backs apart on the perimeter. 2016, Ezekiel Elliott rushing for over 1,600 yards as a rookie, literally carrying the offense on his back. 2022, Micah Parsons terrifying quarterbacks and wrecking game plans. 2023, Dak Prescott lighting up the sky. And 2025, George Pickens. These aren't just good seasons. These are cinematic, jaw-dropping campaigns. Yet the overriding, suffocating narrative of team failure always overshadows their individual brilliance. Just look at the massive spike in receiving yards on this chart. George Pickens is a fascinating, tragic case study in this exact phenomenon. Think about the intense narrative surrounding him. He arrived in Dallas, dragging heavy baggage from his days in Pittsburgh. The critics were incredibly loud. They said he had attitude problems. They said he was just a contested catch specialist who couldn't run a full, nuanced NFL route tree. Well, he completely shattered those accusations. Pickens bought into the Dallas system entirely. He dominated from the slot, which completely caught defenses off guard. He became an absolute yards-after-catch monster, violently shaking off defenders in the open field and posting massive, undeniable numbers. 93 catches, 1,429 receiving yards, and 9 touchdowns. Do you know how hard it is to generate over 1,400 receiving yards when every defensive coordinator in the league knows you are the primary target? He orchestrated a full-blown redemption arc in 2025. He played his absolute heart out, running precise dig routes and crossing patterns, taking massive hits over the middle, even as the team ultimately sputtered to a losing record overall. It was a cover-worthy, undeniable superstar performance that was ultimately buried by team mediocrity. And the list of these individual snubs goes so much deeper than just Pickens. Look at these honorable mentions. Add in Dak Prescott's 2023 MVP runner-up year, where he led the entire league with 36 passing touchdowns. It was a magical regular season, tragically overshadowed by an embarrassing playoff collapse to the Green Bay Packers. Look at Micah Parsons' 2022 edge-rushing dominance, 13.5 sacks, and a staggering 90 quarterback pressures. Stop and think about that number. Generating 90 pressures in a single season is an absurd, almost unrepeatable metric. It means he was fundamentally disrupting the opposing quarterback's internal clock on almost every single passing down. He was single-handedly wrecking offensive game plans. Add Darren Bland setting the actual legitimate NFL record for pick sixes in a single season in 2023, demonstrating unbelievable instinct and ball skills. Or Zeke leading a magical 11-game win streak as a rookie in 2016 with 1,631 rushing yards. This perfectly illustrates the tragic irony of the modern Dallas Cowboys. You see a massive, undeniable ceiling of individual Hall of Fame level greatness. But it is greatness in pure isolation. It ultimately falls short of rings. Section 4. The Week 6 Parsons Threat. A looming showdown. Speaking of Micah Parsons, his shocking departure to the Green Bay Packers sets up the climax of our story today. It sets the stage for a massive Week 6 showdown that could define the entire trajectory of the Cowboys' 2026 season. The ghost of Dallas past is waiting. Let's rewind for some quick context on this text slide. Last year's so-called revenge game against Parsons was billed as the heavyweight fight of the century, and let me tell you, it delivered pure, unadulterated chaos. It ended in an incredibly rare, absolutely exhausting 40-40 tie at AT&T Stadium. Offenses were trading massive blows, defenses were completely gassed, players could barely stand, and there was absolutely no winner. There was no closure for the fans, no closure for the players, just an unconclusive, brutal battle that left both sides absolutely desperate for a definitive ending. They have massive, deeply personal, unfinished business, and the NFL scheduling gods have orchestrated round 2 for this October. But here is where the story takes a massive, medically driven twist. Parsons is currently recovering from a devastating torn ACL. And in Green Bay, the medical staff does not mess around. They do not rush the science of ligament reconstruction. They have a strict, non-negotiable 9-month rehab protocol for injuries of this magnitude to ensure long-term stability and explosion. Because of this timeline, he is guaranteed to start the 2026 season on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list. As the definition on the side shows, this designation means, legally, under NFL rules, he must miss a minimum of the first 4 games of the regular season. He is entirely locked out of competition. He cannot practice fully, he cannot take contact, and he certainly cannot help his new team in September. He has to sit in the dark, do his rehab, and wait. Let's look at the timeline on this slide and see how this builds step by agonizing step. Because when you track his medical recovery, the calendar aligns almost too perfectly. It's cinematic. Step 1, he grinds through 9 months of grueling, painful ACL rehab, regaining flexion, rebuilding the muscle mass, finding that explosive power that makes him a generational talent. Step 2, he is forced to sit out the mandatory first 4 games while on the PUP list, watching his teammates battle from the sidelines, letting the anticipation build. Step 3, Green Bay has a uniquely timed long week in their schedule right after Game 4. This gives him the exact, extended physical ramp-up period his doctors and trainers require to simulate actual game speed and full contact. Step 4, he sets his sights, specifically and intentionally, on Week 6 for his long-awaited return to the gridiron. The stars, the complex medical charts, and the NFL schedule makers have all aligned to bring this nightmare directly to Dak Prescott's doorstep. Mark your calendars right now. October 18th, Lambeau Field. This isn't just another game on the grueling 17-game schedule. This could very well be Micah Parsons' highly anticipated first game back in live action. Just imagine the atmosphere of this matchup. Close your eyes and picture it. The crisp Wisconsin air setting in, a hostile, incredibly loud, frozen crowd backing the Packers, and a furious, highly motivated edge rusher finally let off his leash, staring across the line of scrimmage at the exact same quarterback he used to protect in practice. He knows Dak's tendencies, he knows his snap counts. The psychological weight of this game is going to be immeasurable for both sides. But here is the million-dollar tactical question that will ultimately decide this game. With Dallas currently struggling with massive, documented issues with their pass protection at the offensive tackle positions, how on earth will they handle him? Even if Parsons is rusty, even if he has a half-step slow recovering from major knee reconstructive surgery and missing that elite gravity-defying bend around the edge, facing a less than 100% Parsons could literally be the difference between winning and losing. Why? Because last year, even in games where he wasn't lighting up the stat sheet with pure sacks, Parsons consistently disrupted the pocket just by existing. From a wide 9 alignment, he forces offensive tackles to overset. He forces holding penalties. He haunts Dak's footwork, making him step up prematurely into interior pressure. If the Dallas tackles cannot hold the edge against a player who is still finding his footing post-surgery, it will expose a catastrophic roster flaw. Think about it. If you can't block a recovering edge rusher in October, what hope do you have for a deep, sustained championship push in January against fully healthy elite defenses? Which leaves us with the ultimate, burning question as this Dallas pressure cooker violently boils over. Can the Cowboys ruthlessly exploit this matchup against a recovering, compromised player by running directly at him and testing the structural integrity of that knee? Or will their former cornerstone, the very generational talent they drafted, developed, and let walk away, be the one to completely shatter their championship dreams and slam Dak Prescott's incredibly narrow title window shut once and for all? This story is far from over. Thank you for diving deep with us today. Remember, you are watching NFL Nexus. If you enjoyed this explainer and want more cinematic deep dives into the biggest stories in football, subscribe to the channel, like this explainer, and comment down below with what you thought. And if you truly want to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member today. I'll see you next time.